Happy Spiritual Sunday. Okay. All right, so let's get started. I heard, we have our affirmation and we talk about it in different ways. So I heard an example, I think it was from Karen Berg in one of the previous talks over, past few years. She says, what is our whole work here? We've all made mistakes. We've all got ourselves caught up in negativity. And this whole idea of repair traditionally is called repentance. And that's unfortunately been misunderstood, or in Kabbalistic terms, it's tshuva, to return. But basically, it's repairing our mistakes. So Karen, I'm pretty sure it was Karen, was using the idea, I'm sure there must be some people here who've seen snow before, yes? Okay, so when the snow first falls, it's so beautiful, right? It's smooth, it's there, and then people walk over it, or the trucks drive on it, or whatever it may be, and it's got all the marks in it. And then what happens? Let's say the next day it snows again. What happens to all the marks? What happens to all the mud that people, create by walking? All disappears again, and it's back to its pristine, right, cleanliness. So the same with us. The whole point of what we're learning here in the center, and why we are doing, as we'll do here in a moment, our affirmation, is to allow the same thing to happen to us, where we have made those scars of spiritual wounds, anger, jealousy, greed, ego, fear, insecurity, all of that. We have the ability to repair it, and we'll talk about it more today. But this is what we have to keep being reminded of: the truth, that we are able in all way, shape, or form to repair whatever negativity we've done, this life or a past life, because the light is infinite. And this is why we've got to keep reminding ourselves of the truth, so that we start to take out the engraving of the falsehoods and the lies and put in the truth, fill it back in. So let's get started with our, let me put it here. Yay. Those of you online, those of you here, we say together: consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. All right, and we'll start to see a little bit more of that today. Why is that? So I was in LA this last week, and one morning I happened to be, walking to the center, and there's an alley behind the center. So it's real early in the morning, and I hear a voice. No, this time it was an outside voice, right? And as I pass the alley, I see there's this man who's walking down the alley all by himself, and he's just, I don't want to say screaming, but he's speaking very loudly out loud to himself, basically, because there was nobody else there. And every now and then you want to see, maybe someone's talking on the phone, right? Especially now with all those little earbuds and this and that, you can't tell. No, he was one of those people that we might want to call disconnected from reality, right? And he's just walking around just talking like he's, talking to somebody we can't see. So first, of course, I'm thinking, here's one of those people that's disconnected from reality. And then all of a sudden, here comes the part. Then I got smacked in the head by some invisible force, said, really? Really, you teach Kabbalah and you think he's disconnected from reality? What do you think your soul, Chaim, is saying in this moment? I'm disconnected from reality. Which reality are we speaking about? You hear people all the time, get real, get real. What does that usually mean? They don't think that you're doing the right thing or that you're seeing the true perspective of the world, so they got to tell you, get real. What's their reality? And we're going to get to that today, but their reality is caught up in all the illusion. So I wanted to make it clear because it was such a powerful moment for me, because our soul, which is our true self, is speaking to us all the time, only we don't know how to listen. We don't listen. Some people don't even think they have a soul. So when they hear those voices in their head, maybe they just ignore it because they don't want to acknowledge that maybe they're crazy or schizophrenic because they hear these different voices. So I want to make sure we understand. We left the endless world and we came into this world. So in the endless world, everything is pure and perfect. Everything is just the light of the Creator. Everything is bliss and peace and harmony and joy. Well, I'm not going to give you the whole Kabbalah 1, but go back and review Kabbalah 1, why we left the endless world. But the point for today is when we left the endless world, we immersed ourselves in two worlds in this world, in this universe. And every one of us live essentially in two worlds. The two worlds are like this. There's the world of the soul, the world of the light, the world of truth, the world of harmony, joy, peace, love. There's that world connected with our soul. Then there's the world of the body. The 1%, we call it physical reality, the physical reality, which is also an illusion. We call it an illusion. Simple terms, 5 senses. Are our 5 senses always showing us, I don't even know how to use the word now, reality? No, you go to a magic show. Your 5 senses show you that this magician took an empty cage, put a cover over it, pulled the cover off, and now there's this big lion, tiger, bear, elephant, something in the cage. Or maybe another person in the cage, right? So your 5 senses tell you, look, this person came out of nowhere. So our 5 senses can be fooled. That's one reason we call this world the world of illusion. Because we will tend to see, in Kabbalah 1, I think we still use it, reality is not as it is. Reality is as we are. So whatever headspace we may be in the moment, that's how we'll perceive reality. You ever notice when you're in a happy mood, you don't look at the things that yesterday annoyed you? You're not so annoyed anymore. It's the same thing happened, exactly the same situation, and sometimes even with the same people. One day it just irritates you terribly because maybe you're not in such a good mood. And then the next day, for whatever reason, you're in a happy mood, things are great, you look at the universe and say, wow, such a wonderful universe, such a wonderful world. Then those same things don't irritate you anymore. So which is the truth? Which is the reality? Being irritated or not being irritated? That's why this is the world of illusion. And they correspond to the body and the soul. The body and the soul. So here, let me give you some ideas. If you hear these phrases and similar ones, you know you're caught up in the world of the body, the world of illusion, the world of limitation. I can't get a new job, can't find the right person, can't this, can't that, can't change my life, whatever it may be. That's the world of illusion. That's the world of the body. That's the world of chaos, unhappiness. How about this one? Why? Why is this happening to me? None of us ever asked that, right? The thing is, I'll never forget the first time, maybe the second year I was teaching, and you always hear that. Why is it happening to me? Is always a reference to something bad. Something bad happened. Why me, God? Why? Why me? So I remember the first time I heard Rav Berg, my teacher, say, how come nobody asked that when good things happen? Right? Person wins the lottery there and say, oh, why me? Right? They meet some great person. Why me? Right? Some good thing, they get a raise. Why me? No. Oh, yeah, that's me, all right. Right? I did that. No, but it's always why me when it's bad stuff. Why is this happening to me? Or, I don't know if I should do that or say that. What will they think of me? That's also the body consciousness. It's also limitation. It's also illusion. And it's of no benefit to us. We read stories in the Bible all the time. Moses, simple story. Moses did whatever the right thing to do was. And we read all the time. 40 years in the desert, Moses would do the right thing, the thing of the light, the thing that was the most sharing. And yet a lot of people criticized him, complained, accused him of all kinds of horrible stuff. So imagine had Moses, one of the highest evolved people ever in history, if he had said, well, if I tell them this, what are they going to think about me? What are they going to say about me? We'd still be either in the desert or we'd still be trapped in Egypt, in slavery and bondage. But he was willing to do whatever was the right thing to do, regardless of what people might say. In fact, Rab Brandwein, the Rav's teacher, used to tell him, when a person goes upstairs and he stands in front of that court and they say, well, how was your life? He says, oh, it was all good. Everybody loved me. Nobody said anything bad, this and this. So Rabbi Brandwein taught the Rav, that's the first ticket to hell. Because if a person's truly doing something to change the world for the better, somebody in the world's not going to like it. Because when you shine light, it often will reflect to the person their own negativity. And so the easiest thing, unless they're spiritual, unless they've learned what we're learning here, the easiest thing for them to do is blame the person who's pointing out what's wrong with them. Right? You look in a mirror. How many times you look in the mirror and your hair's a mess, the makeup's a mess, whatever's a mess, your clothes are a mess, you say, nasty mirror. How dare you, mirror, do that? Right? We got to look for someone to blame. Instead of just saying, okay, I got to fix myself, then the mirror will look okay. We got to blame. So there's some things. Or we'll go in a somewhat different direction. I can't stand them. Who do they think they are? Or people look in the mirror and they say, I'm no good, I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, whatever it may be. Also from the body. Or the opposite. I'm the greatest. Look what I did. Look how much I've achieved. Look how much money I have. Look at the power I have. Look at this. That's also from the body. It's also limitation, and it's also a lie. So then what is the soul? What's the world of the soul? When people are acting with the body, what is the soul saying? Imagine somebody says, could you imagine Shakespeare? I hope everyone knows Shakespeare. Imagine Shakespeare's pen, if it could speak, saying, look at all the great plays I created. What would you say to that pen if you were having a conversation? You didn't do it. Shakespeare did it. You were just the pen that put the ink on the paper. But the power, the thought, the idea behind it was Shakespeare. So imagine what our soul is saying when people are saying, I can't, or I'm so great, or I'm so wonderful. Our soul is saying, what are you, nuts? Without me, without the power of the light, you can't even wake up in the morning. You couldn't have a thought. You have no talent or ability. You're just a vessel. You're just the container of the light. So we have our job, which we'll also always speak about, but our soul is saying, hey, here I am. Connect with me, make use of me. So the world of the soul then, in essence, is the opposite. It's the acknowledgement. When we acknowledge I'm a pure and perfect being of light, I have light filling my soul. The light is the thing that takes away the darkness. The light that the Creator implanted in our soul is the thing, when I extend it out into the world, will remove the darkness, give me clarity, make things, show me the solutions. I'm just the conduit. So then me and the light, we can overcome anything. We can change anything. There's no chaos in the world that the light, as I channel it in this world and do what it tells me to do, there's no chaos I can't take away and turn it back to order. There's no challenge that can't be overcome. There's nothing overwhelming. So then in that case, what is the world of the soul? I'm happy. I'm at peace. Even when there's challenges, I'm still happy. There's my opportunity to fix what I did in the past. Right? You come across, like we said in the beginning, the snow with the tracks on it. You come across that and you could pour snow on it and fix it. Okay, you're making a little effort, but you'd be happy along the way because you have the ability to fix it. So then along with that, what would our soul say? I apologize for what I may have done to you. A little tough, no? Especially the people you don't like. Whatever I may have done to hurt you or cause you pain, I'm sorry. The world around you are going to look at it and say, get real. Are you crazy? They just did a horrible thing to you. Why are you apologizing to them? Because I want to stay connected to the light of my soul. I want to be in the world of the soul, the true world of reality, where there is heaven on earth, where there's peace, where there's harmony, joy, happiness that lasts. Everybody can get things of a material nature temporarily. But look back on our lives. How many times have we had things, and either after 3 days, a week or so, they're no longer fulfilling, or they just disappear. That's the world of the body, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's good, it's bad, it's light, it's darkness, happy, sad. No, we want to be in the world of the soul. So I forgive you, I apologize, right? With the light I can change everything. That's the reality. If we work together, we can have a world of peace and harmony. Yeah, listen to what your opponent's already telling you, right? In the body, unfortunately, is that opponent, the one that wants to tell us all the lies and the limitations. Oh, you can't do this, or look how great you are, which is another way of separation. Disconnect yourself from everybody else. No, we came in this world as one soul. We have to go back to the endless world as one soul. And the intermediary step, which is the whole purpose of the Kabbalah Center, is give every human being on earth the ways and means to live in the bridge between the pure endless world and this physical world where we can perceive the darkness and the chaos. We want to be able to live in heaven on earth. We came here, heaven on earth. We left heaven on earth. Our job is to get back before we go back to the endless world. But it's already here waiting for us. That's what the light in us will say. There's a solution. What are you bothered? Pause. Look down the line. What's your behavior? Reactive, proactive. If it's reactive, it's not going to be good for you. If it's proactive, then long term it will be good for you. So we've got to start deciding where we are, because our only purpose in this world was how to choose between the two. And we're constantly making choices. Do I want to live in the world of the soul, or I want to live in the world of the body? What we're learning here in the center is how to make the shift, how to change from the world of the body to the world of the soul. How do we know when we need to do that? The moment some challenge, obstacle, something comes our way, and we start to feel angry, hurt, jealous, fearful, insecure, sad, guilt, shame. In that moment, we know we're caught up in the world of the body. Our work is to shift now into the world of the soul. Start emanating light, start acting like the light, start realizing, yes, okay, here's my opportunity. We only came out of the endless world to take the light that's in our soul, shine it out into the world. That's why we're here. Make manifest all the light of our soul so we can experience endless bliss. But not everybody believes endless bliss is possible. Not everybody believes even a little more bliss than they have is possible. That's the power of the opponent in our head. He's there to challenge us. Which do you believe in? Do you believe it's possible that the light can remove all the darkness? And that's everything. That's whether that's health, whether it's business, whether it's relationships, whether it's peace and protection, removing stress, all of that. Is it possible with the light? That's what we've got to come to understand. We have that ability. The Kabbalists teach us desire. Those of you who know the term, the vessel that is the container, our soul that contains the light of the Creator, its nature is desire to receive. It wants. What does it want? Peace and harmony. It wants all the light. It wants the light that was implanted in us to be fully revealed in our life so we can experience. I want to experience eternal joy, happiness, prosperity, love, peace, all the good things, protection. So it's our desire that drives us. That's why the Zohar says, the way a person desires to go is the way they'll be led by the universe. So when a person uses their God-given desire for simply the physical material things, the universe will be happy to show them the road that will give them all the physical material things they want. But don't forget, it comes with a price. The price for that is temporary fulfillment, because it'll come and go. How many, don't raise your hand, but how many people do you know, especially in the last few years, that were invested in the stock market? Stock market goes up, happy day! Stock market goes down, oh my God! Goes back up, oh, thank goodness. Goes back down, hello, they're living on a roller coaster. Would you call that a happy, harmonious life? No, but for the one day or the few days that's up, happy, wonderful, right? They're already envisioning what they're going to do when it goes higher. But then when it drops, Now comes the visions of hell, right? What's going to do? Are they going to pay their bills? What's going to happen? All that stuff. That's what you're talking about. Temporary, easy to do. Lasting, difficult to do. It's not an easy thing to do. But that's how we'll have the greatest enjoyment and fulfillment from it. Because if you don't make an effort to achieve something, the joy of it doesn't last. Easy come, easy go. When I was in college, it was easy to see the difference between those who, went out to the parties and the football games and things like that and didn't do so well in school, right? It was great. They went to the party, they come back, great party, great football game. While some of us were there studying hard to do well in school, in the classes. And at the end of the day, when you did well in the class, especially in college, wow, that was fulfilling. Even to this day, some of the things that I did back then still makes me happy. Because I made an effort to achieve something. So even though I didn't end up in that direction, the medical profession, but I'm still happy and fulfilled. In fact, some of the stuff I've shared with you over the years, things that I learned in college I thought I would never use again, I use because it suits Kabbalistic understanding, analogies, metaphors that people can grasp. So, going back to the two worlds exist, everybody lives in both of them. You, me, and this guy in the alley. He was living in both worlds. In fact, the Zohar says prophecy, meaning true vision of the future, comes from children and what they call fools. People like this guy in the alley, we might call them. Why? Because they're in a different reality. Like this guy walking down the street, when I got smacked by whichever one of, I hope my guardian angel smacked me, say, hey, maybe he's seeing things you're not seeing. Maybe he's talking to people who are there that you don't see. At least in that moment. So what I've learned to do is when you hear things that seem far out or from children, what does it mean prophecy comes from children? Children can say things that seem totally disconnected from our reality, but if you stop and listen and you interpret it Kabbalistically, suddenly you've got great insight, great inspiration. Because they're not limited. In fact, the Rav and Karen always called, what happens when you turn, I guess it's 18 now. You go from being a child to an adult, right? We all want to be adults because then we can drink, we can smoke, we can vote, we can do gamble, whatever it is we can do. But let's think about the word adult. What does it really mean? And this was shocking the first time I heard the Rav say it. It's to adulterate, to corrupt. You corrupt a child who believes everything is possible into an adult that says, no, there's limitation. Education limits, age limits, culture limits, religion limits, nationality, color, all those things create limits. Now we're adults because we're in the real world. No, children are in the real world. People we generally call fools are in the real world. Prophets. Go back to the biblical times when the prophet would say, watch out, this is coming or that is coming, change your ways, be more spiritual, be more loving and caring. Crazy people. We have to realize they could be speaking prophecy. It's up to us to interpret it to our benefit. Why? If you believe in the Creator, if you believe whatever name you call God, or we'll talk about the infinite light, if it's infinite light, it's infinite everywhere. Which means perfection already exists. Our job is not to create perfection. Our job is to manifest perfection. You ever seen paint by numbers? Are there still such things? Paint by number canvases? So when you and I do the paint by numbers, what are we really doing? The outline is there. The perfect picture is already there. Even the colored design is already there. All we're doing is taking the right paint and put it in the right spot, and the right paint in the right spot. So we've got to find the empty spots and then fill it in with the right color to make the picture. The same in life. Our job is to look for the empty spots where we didn't shine the light. That's why we learn. The soul is telling us Everything around us, the Kabbalists have taught us for thousands of years, everything is a reflection of us. So you look out in the world, you have anger towards people, jealousy, insecurity, whatever. There's our dark spot. There's where our paint by numbers not filled in. The opponent on our head wants us to keep it that way and just blame somebody else. Oh, somebody else didn't fill it in. No, it's your paint by numbers. Perfection already exists. We just have to live into it. The other thing is, when you look at the paint by numbers, I don't know, let's say it's got 200 spots you got to fill in. You see the picture on the box, right? On the cover of the box, perfect picture, everything's great. Now, out of the 200 things, you fill out 198 of them. Vast majority. Do you say, wow, look at the perfect picture? Or you're still missing two pieces? Not sure? Missing two pieces. So when is it a perfect picture? When all 200 are there. So then when can we be in a perfect world? As we get all people to live according to the soul. How are we going to get there? Because I can already hear, you'll never get everybody. Okay, along the way, we don't need everybody. It's the same thing. Think of your paint by numbers. You look at the picture on the box. Now you start doing the 200. At 50, you almost say, okay, I can see there's good. I can kind of see a little bit of it. But there comes a certain point, let's call it the critical mass of filling in those pieces, where you now can perceive a likeness to the picture on the box. So the Kabbalists teach us, and the whole mission of the Kabbalah Center is to reveal a critical mass of light with enough people in unity. It doesn't have to be the whole world. It doesn't even have to be half the world. It has to be 51% of the light. That could be from 100 people, could be from 1,000 people, could be from 1,000,000 people. Doesn't have to be 3.5 billion people. But at that critical mass, when we shift the balance in the cosmos from the darkness to the light, then it's like everything's sliding downhill. Everybody else will come along with it because they'll begin to see the benefit of acting like the light. Meanwhile, you and I have to do the work, and it's not easy work. So when we see people who are like this guy in the alley, or in your daily life, when you find people who are bugging you, who are triggering your reactive feelings, now what do? Pause. That's how we call it now. Stop for a moment and let's start thinking. In me is the perfect light, in them is the perfect light. And why are they doing what they're doing? When we get caught up in our body consciousness, people who don't agree with us, people have a different opinion, people doing things we don't like, what do you say? Oh, they're terrible. They just want bad. No, there's no human being on earth who wants bad. We all want the same thing because we're all created from the same material. Every person on earth wants lasting fulfillment. The difference is, why are they doing what they're doing? Because they perceive that's the way to have lasting fulfillment. Why does a thief steal? A thief doesn't steal just to steal. They steal because they feel they're going to gain some sense of fulfillment. Make them a little happier. Make them a little more joyous. Make them a little less stressed out. Why do you do what you do? Be a little happier. Be a little stressed out. Be a little more at peace, no? So the only thing that causes all the chaos in the world is that one is looking to have fulfillment their way, the other is looking to have the same fulfillment, but in their way, and they're opposites. I usually like the example, if you and I, those of you who are here from, let's say, I don't even know what to call them, those who drive on the right side of the street. Okay, so one of the drivers from Florida goes to London, drives the way they drive in Florida, in London. At some point, what's probably going to happen? They're going to meet somebody who lives in London head on, because they'll be driving on the right side. From the London point of view, they'll be driving on the left side, boom, they'll be meeting each other. But they could be the greatest drivers. So why? They both want to get from point A to B, but one's driving on one side of the road, the other's driving from the other way on the same side of the road. Conflict. So you and I have to be able to pause and say, wait a second, this person really just wants good in their life, even though they may be saying externally nasty things, doing nasty things, etc., but they want the same fulfillment as me. So let's find a way to harmonize that. Let's find a way for you and I. And so the Zohar says like this, yes, it's the hardest thing to do, but it's also the most rewarding. And as we talked a little in the beginning, I want to quote you from the Zohar. And those of you who have a Zohar, you can look it up. Vayeshev, verse 8, says like this, come and behold, like open your eyes, open your consciousness. This is why the opponent, that negative, false, parasitic voice in our head that tells us all the lies of ego, limitations, etc., comes early to join with people from the day they are born so that we'll believe in it. It's like we probably all know people who were told growing up, they're stupid, they're not going to make it, they're not smart enough, they're not capable in one way or another. And when they hear it enough times, they tend to believe it. So then even as an adult, when they are free to go and express and manifest their true abilities, they're still thinking limitation because they've come to believe that they're limited, they're incapable. The body. Then it says, later, when the light starts to waken up in the person, number one, will find it hard to believe. Like you and I, we're here in the center, we keep learning. Yes, it's possible, we have the power to create. Last week we talked about superhuman, right? We have superhuman capabilities because the Creator gave us a piece of itself. We have the power to create. We've created everything in this world so far. We've created our lives with our own choices. Body consciousness, soul consciousness. We've created our lives. Nobody else around us. So now we have to wake up and realize we have the power to create it in its pure, harmonious way. Peace, love, kindness, protection, a great, amazing world. So he says, once that light starts to wake up and we hear those ideas, after so many years of being told, no, you can't, you're not able, it's not going to be that way, the world is just going to hell in a handbasket, and it'll always be chaos, it's hard to believe. And then it says, and the things that it says, what the light will tell us, even if we want to believe, will seem like a burden. I had somebody this weekend tell me, who studied, they get it, they've made effort to change, to grow and evolve, but they were saying, it's painful. It's painful. And yes, it is. You have to make an effort. But like, Karen, I heard recently in one of the classes, she says, how do you grow a muscle? You've got to exert yourself. It's got to be an effort. It's got to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be pain per se, but it's got to be uncomfortable. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and expect the muscle to grow. You've got to exert yourself. Well, what about your soul? You also have to exert yourself. So what does the opponent do? This was my realization in this conversation. The opponent will pick something in the person's life that they experienced that was terrible, awful, difficult, something, and remind them. In the moment they think, okay, I can extend more light towards this person, the light of forgiveness, the light of compassion, the light of joy, even the light of apology, the light of gratitude. But the moment we're ready or willing to do that, the opponent will say, oh, but you remember that time in your life, you remember the pain you felt, this is going to be just like that. But you and I have to realize, yes, there's that moment of pain, but the moment you go through it, it's like you look back and say, that's all? That's all it was? Right? It looks so big on this side of it. As you're willing to push through it and you get on the other side, you look back, wow. The Kabbalists teach in the Zohar that when a righteous person goes over on the other side, they see this huge mountain of all their good deeds and they're crying. They can't believe they were able to achieve all these good deeds. As it's called, not so righteous person goes on the other side and he or she sees like a tiny little thread and begins to cry. Why? In their whole life, they couldn't do a simple action of sharing like they would break that thread. Such a small thing. Such a small thing. So this is what this opponent in our head makes us think. That if we're going to do this, what really is a small action of sharing, it's going to be pain like nobody's business. We have to overcome that. We have to be willing to push ourselves. We have to go through it. So this is why the Kabbalists give us, we do our affirmation. Why do we do our affirmation? Awaken more strength. Give us more boost. We have the tools, the Zohar, right? You all know the main mission of the center, spread enough Zohar, even the pocket Zohars. Spread the Zohar, it radiates the light of the Creator. It's not about understanding with your brain. It just shines light. So you awaken the light inside you, easier because you have more power now, and it's easier to see. It's easier to see. You overcome the body consciousness. You overcome the five senses. Do you remember in The Wizard of Oz? At the end of The Wizard of Oz, here's this big scary thing, whoa, big loud voice, until they remove the curtain. Like they see through the illusion. Here's this little man, pulling all the things, making the machine work. He's pretending like he's this big, huge, terrorizing thing, wizard, to be scared of, and yet he's a little human like the rest of us. So by using the Zohar, Ana B'Koach, 72 names, all the tools of the center, we're allowing us to part the curtains, see beyond the five senses, see on the other side of the wall where we can see joy, happiness, peace, harmony, love, kindness, prosperity, all the good things. Because as we said, they already exist. We just have to live into it. As we do that, as the Kabbalists say, we turn this opponent into our advocate, to our support system. Remember the paint by numbers? Simple terms. If somebody keeps pointing to you, here's an empty spot, here's an empty spot, here's an empty spot, here's an empty spot. So you can fill it in and make that perfect picture. Some of us along the way would probably feel what? Okay, not you, but some people out there would feel annoyed. What are you telling me to do? Here's an empty spot, here's an empty spot, here's an empty spot, So you have the choice. Be annoyed and give up. Or you can say, thank you for pointing it out. Here, I'm going to put that paint over here, and this paint over here, and this paint over here. So we have learned in the center to see everything as a reflection of me. So when I see people misbehaving out there, I have to ask myself, because I want to grow and evolve and have all my blessings, I have to ask myself, what does that mean to me? How does that reflect in me? So if I look at somebody and say, oh, what a big ego they've got, I've got to look at me and say, where's my ego? Where's my ego blocking me? And it may not be in the same form, but there's got to be an ego, some form of separateness, some form of I think I'm the source, I'm the power. Whatever it is, you look at the kids, say, oh, look at those people out there. Look at all the bad things they're doing. Well, look at the reflection. What are the bad things we're doing? May not be on the same level, but I'm sure most of us, I'll leave a little space there, but probably most of us, all of us, have a little annoyance, a little frustration, a little jealousy, a little envy, at least in moments. So it's a reflection of what we see out there. So the way we can achieve our greatest fulfillment is by using everything as a mirror. What can I change about me? Because just like the mirror, if two people standing in front of the mirror and they're both all messed up at first, the clothes are all disarrayed or whatever. When one person seeing the mirror puts their clothes back in order, the other person still has a reflection of disorder. But you and I now have order because the universe will reflect our actions. Our life is not their actions. Our life is our actions. So we're all in a mirror. If they want to stay, meanwhile, in chaos, let them stay in chaos. I don't want to be in chaos. So we have the ability of changing. We want to look for those opportunities where we can find darkness, where we can find the jealousy, the anger, and the ego, and we want to now shine our light on it. And the beauty is, as we'll shine our light, what's inside the soul of every person on earth? Light. So when we're extending more light out of us, we're awakening more light in them. So we get the immediate benefit, and in long term, they're going to be awakened to their true superhuman power. And they're going to start seeing the same thing we start to see. Heaven on earth, our peace of heaven on earth, joy, happiness, in spite of all what may look like challenges in the meanwhile. We've got to shift it. We have that power to change the world. The Kabbalah says every person who does a good action is shifting the entire world, creating new worlds. So I want to tell you a story as we're closing. Because we have the power. Activate light in other people, they will also change. So there's one of the great Kabbalists in the 1700s, the Baal Shem Tov. So one of my favorites. So there's a story that, there was a very nasty man in the town who would always, if he didn't like a person or he didn't get his way, he would go and tell things to the government. I mean, imagine back in the Poland, Ukraine area back then, the government looking to, take away anybody that they could. So this guy, if he didn't like them, he'd just go to the government and he'd inform. He'd say, this one's doing this and this and this against whatever the government policy is. So everybody was scared of him. So one day the Baal Shem Tov comes into town. And of course, as he's speaking and he's, having events with the people to help raise their consciousness, teach them how to be unified with the light in their soul, to see light in others, be happy and joyous. So this guy did something. He wanted something. The Baal Shem Tov, being a true Kabbalist, said no. So he went to go inform on the government. So everybody's telling the Baal Shem Tov, watch out, this guy, he's a nasty person, whatever. So the Baal Shem Tov doesn't care, and he and his assistant, they're walking out in the fields on their way somewhere, and then they see, here comes this guy, this informer. He's on a horse. He's running at him. He says, I'm coming to kill you. He's got this sword, right? Swinging the sword. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. So the Baal Shem Tov just starts staring. The assistant starts running behind the bushes, to hide. And the guy keeps coming. And you could see the Baal Shem Tov just staring at him. And the guy gets closer, and he jumps off his horse with the sword. He drops the sword. He falls down at the feet of the Baal Shem Tov and begs forgiveness. So, asks for help. How can he fix all of it, the chaos he's created in his life? So the Baal Shem Tov talks to him. The assistant of the Baal Shem Tov comes out from behind the bushes now. The guy went off, a new man. He says, what were you doing? How did that happen? He says, no. He says, I was just looking and awakening the light inside him. Because even though he's misbehaved all these years, but he still has the light of the Creator inside him. And if we'll awaken that, it will cause people to act in that kind, godlike, caring, loving way. So as we're sitting here now, in the midst of all that people see in the world, we've got to start asking ourselves, what do we want to do? How are we going to change it? So, in closing, once we'll open our hearts, which is not easy, because we've all been hurt in some way or another. But when we open our heart to feel the pain of our own soul that's being trapped, that it's not able to be free to bring us all the blessings that the Creator already gave us. Feel the pain of the soul, so you want to let it out of its prison. Then look at everybody else. Those people who've triggered you, the people who are misbehaving. Feel the pain of their soul that wants to come out from their limitations, that wants to come out from the prison they've created, and give them all the blessings. To release them from the lies as our soul of the limitations, of the powerlessness. Beam your light out into the world. Beam your light to the soul of every human being on earth, which we'll be doing as we do with our meditations. Because as we will beam our light to the soul of every person and awaken that in them, then we start to assemble. It's like we're putting all the pieces of that paint by numbers or all the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, we're putting them together. And then as we work together, more and more people gathering together to work with this focus. How can we make the world a better place? We are capable because heaven on earth already exists. We just have to make it manifest. Then, as we're joining more people, there'll be love, there'll be unity. The world will return to peace, love, kindness, unity, happiness, as it was when the Creator set it out. Garden of Eden existed in the beginning. Our work is to get back to the Garden of Eden, but without all the pain and suffering. And as we'll beam light, and we'll share our light, and we'll reveal our light, then manifesting heaven on earth will take place. And then, as the Kabbalists write, it will be in the beginning, so it will be in the end. Heaven on earth is a reality. We have the capability to make it happen. We can get our own piece of that. We just have to be willing to push past our opponent. We have to be willing to make the effort to share our light so that we can experience this heaven on earth, and we can live with joy, happiness, and peace, and take away all the chaos. And everybody will walk around with a smile on their face. Everybody will walk around with peace in their heart. God bless. As we do every week, this is the time we do our offering, because we cannot achieve the mission of the center. So I'll put it on here for those of you online. Wow. Okay. So those of you here, the mission of the center is one: bring peace on earth, remove pain, suffering, and death by removing the angel of death. That's the essence of the opponent, the angel of death. Death is any time we're not happy, joyous, peaceful. There's a death of happiness temporarily. You get upset at something, then there's a part of that happiness and joy that the Creator set out for us that's also disappeared. It can reincarnate spiritually. All we have to do is keep reawakening the light. But by spreading the Zohar and taking away the clouds of darkness, which we always talk about, once the darkness disappears, everybody sees reality. So we can only do that with your help and support. And so we appreciate all of your support and all your help. And so this is why we'll take this time to bless our offering. So those of you here, you can hold it in your hand. Those of you online, I've posted the link to give. Thank you. And we just want to inject, because the money is a vessel, inject our love, our gratitude, acknowledgement of the pure and perfect beings of light that we are. Strengthen our desire through spreading the Zohar and this wisdom, these tools, this technology, to help awaken the light and the pure and perfect being of light in everybody else. Acknowledging that we are not the source, we are the conduit, channeling the light through us into the world, ultimately unconditionally, so that our blessings will be manifest more quickly, more powerfully, and we'll experience that true joy, happiness, peace, knowing that as we share out into the world, so the universe will reflect it in kind. And together we say, Amen. So I want to do, as we do every week, one of the 72 names. Those of you here on the left, those are the charts of the 72 names of God, it's called. 72 combinations of 3 energy forces called the Hebrew letters that just channel light from the upper worlds. So these, Mem, you see it, Mem, Yud, Hey. It's building bridges. Oh, let me put it here for you. It's about creating unity. And so as we spoke today, there is only one soul, and we want to bring it back into its pure unity. Mem, Yud, Hey. So just let the shapes of the letters be engraved in your mind's eye, that they open up the portal from this world to the upper worlds, to your pure soul's energy, that which the Creator implanted inside you, and also the unity that truly exists among the souls of humanity, that it's our job to make manifest. Mem Yud Hey. So those of you at home, those of you here, sitting comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. Hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Allow yourself just to relax into the chair. Breathing in the light of the Creator through the breath, exhaling and releasing the tension, the blockages, all the false ideas that we've carried with us. Begin to be more conscious of the infinite light in and around you. Acknowledging it is the only source of lasting fulfillment. Reminding yourself that a piece of that infinite light resides in your soul, ready, willing, and able to bring you joy, happiness, peace through all your life, all the blessings. And let us envision together Mem, Yud, Hey. See them above your head. See the beam of light from the endless world shining through them. Mem, Yud, Hey, radiating this light of unity, strengthening the bridges between all people, the bridge of the soul, the bridge of the light. And now bring those energy forces through the top of your head, activating the light in every cell of your body as it moves throughout your body, from head to toe, and then returns to settle in your heart. Mem, Yud, Hey. Feel it awakening, a greater sense of oneness, unity. The conscious acknowledgement, we are all one soul, we all are interconnected, we all have impact on each and every person on earth. And as this light of the Creator is awakened inside of us, let each of us realize with greater consciousness, we each have the power to change the planet. We have the ability to bring peace and unity. We strengthen our desire to manifest that commitment, that mission, that purpose, that objective. And so let the light of the Mem, Yud, Hey shine out of your heart into and through the heart of your loved ones, family, friends. Let it shine out to the people you work with, the people you know, the people in your community, unconditionally. Let it beam out to their heart, the Mem, Yud, Hey that exists in their heart. See it being activated. Seeing that light force shine brighter and brighter inside them. See the sphere of light that you've created that envelops them, that you can see that you are one soul. And now let that light, Mem Yud Hey, expand out through them to every person on earth, enveloping every person in this light, reaching their heart. Every heart, every human being has a place for the Mem Yud Hey. We're activating that energy. Love, unity, oneness. That we all see more clearly. Every one of our actions manifests exactly according to that form in our life. Awakening this energy, we extend more kindness, love, generosity, gratitude, humility, forgiveness, certainty, and security. Creating greater and greater worlds of love, peace, unity. Be aware of the vibration you feel. This higher level of love, unconditional love that's awakened inside you now. Love for your true light beingness, and love for the light inside every person on earth. The clarity you have now, this higher vibration of pure light that you're experiencing now. Let it be engraved in your heart, your soul, and your mind. That it strengthen your desire and your resolve to spread the light, spread this wisdom, spread the books of the Zohar. That vision you have now will be manifest in our time. Peace on earth, love, kindness, goodwill towards all people. And together we take one more deep breath to anchor it in our heart, soul, and mind, and slowly exhale as you open your eyes. Okay, thank you those of you here join us. It's great to see you again. Those of you online, have an amazing week. Remember, those of you who would like to have some private mentoring or classes or meetings to help you apply this wisdom, please feel free to reach out to me, Facebook, or email me. share with me also just your experiences, your miracles, and even your questions. And I look forward to seeing you next week when we meet again. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining us. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to this channel that you'll be notified when we post new videos. Share the video with your friends, they can also benefit. And check out the website, www.kabbalah.com, that's Kabbalah, for hundreds of articles and classes. Wish you an amazing day, and God bless.